Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fields here at Southern Virginia University for your Southern Virginia Knights women's soccer home opener here at Southern Virginia University. A rainy day here in Buena Vista, Virginia. My name is Jake McMahon, joined by Sam Horman, punter for the Knights football team, former defender for the Knights men's soccer team. And the Knights are looking to net their first win of the season period following a 0-2 loss against Meredith College at Meredith this past weekend. The Knights looking to get on the board with their first goals and first win of the season.
Yeah, absolutely, and they have a pretty good chance today, I think, against the Bridgewater Eagles. We'll see how it plays into it with the rain and everything, but I think both teams really looking to come out strong, and we'll just see how it goes, I guess.
And like I said, Southern Virginia looking for their first one of the season. Same for Bridgewater College, their opponent here at home today. Bridgewater College 0-1-1 on the season with a double overtime tie, 1-1 against Worcester College, and then a 1-5 loss against number 22 ranked in the nation, Carnegie Mellon, in their second game of the season. So both teams thirsty for their first win of the season. Should be a highly competitive match here at the field today, despite the coldness. It's only about 60 degrees here in Buena Vista, Virginia today, which we're certainly not used to here in the first week of September, Sam. Both teams will be fighting maybe a little bit of difficulty getting warmed up, hopefully sufficiently warmed up. We avoid injuries today, and like we said, both teams looking for that first win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both teams are going to try to capitalize on the other team's mistakes. Both teams will be having it, as the rain really does affect that and the coldness a little bit. But we'll go ahead and bring you your starting lineups now for both teams. Starting for the Bridgewater College, we have number 00, Haley Talbot in goal. Number 2, Annie Sybil. Number 3, Sarah Brennan. Number 4, Carrie Rager. Number 5, Grayson Matthews. Number 17, Savannah Cowan. Number 18, Catherine White. Number 20, Maddie Grimm. Number 21, Bailey Kratz. Number 22, Anna Sobis. And number 23, Isabella Kreider. And now for your Southern Virginia Knights, starting in goal, number 1, Katie Vaughn. Number 3, Emma Landy. Number 4, Allie Rigby. Number 8, Cora Jewell. Number 10, Clarissa Barton. Number 14, Ann Powell. Number 16, Airdrie Palmer. Number 20, Cyan Smith. Number 21, Kira Tolbert. Number 22, Taylor Mercer. And number 24, Kylie Auger.
Now the Knights getting started here against Bridgewater College. The Knights wearing the white kits here at the fields today. Bridgewater College in the crimson kits. Just so we stay straight right off the bat here so we know who's who. The Knights looking to be led today by returner number 22, Taylor Mercer, who is going into her sophomore season here at Southern Virginia University, the sophomore from Gainesville, Florida, with a lot of offensive firepower following in the footsteps of recently graduated senior Tatiana Monson, kind of following in her footsteps, hopefully with some greatness this year, and also playing up front, number 4, Allie Rigby, the freshman out of Rexburg, Idaho, who is just looking to get her college career started here with a lot of success in her first home appearance.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cyan Smith as well, number 20, currently has the most shots on the team as well. So we'll look for a pretty good attack from the Knights. They're definitely looking to get some goals today, start off the season right. And so far they're doing all right as they let a ball through. Great through ball there from Bridgewater College. And then she puts it in the back of the net. What an excellent through ball from Bridgewater. The Knights definitely caught off guard there. A little bit of miscommunication between the center back and the left back, and the ball just slips through.
And obviously lots of excitement from the Eagles of Bridgewater College following a goal that comes only less than a minute and a half into this first half of play in this home opener for the Knights. The scorer, number 22, Anna Sobis, the senior out of Spotsylvania, Virginia. Great city name there, Sam.
That is brilliant.
But gets her first score of the season. And the first goal of this game. The Knights will have to answer really quickly here and make sure they don't fall too far behind and play the mental game to stay in this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Knights just a little bit caught off guard. There was a really, really good through ball to find the split as the striker was running through, but I think the Knights defense still getting a little organized in the first 90 seconds of the game, and Bridgewater College makes them pay for it there.
As we get started, other notable returners for the Knights, you have to mention Cora Jewell, the senior out of Highland, Utah, coming back for her fourth and final season for the Knights. Played her first 2 seasons here at Southern Virginia University before taking a break to serve an LDS mission, I believe, and now back for her final 2 seasons. Not the absolute fastest player on the team, but very, very smart. High soccer IQ, great distribution and technique. Look for Cora Jewell to not only give some great distribution over the middle, but really be a mental toughness leader for the Knights, as well as Ann Powell for the Knights. Number 14, the junior out of Salt Lake City, Utah, who arguably has one of the best, how do I say this, has some of the best pace for the Knights. That girl can run forever, Sam.
Absolutely. She does really well up and down the lines, especially if they can get the ball to her. She's usually a little bit faster than most outside backs are used to, and she can get up and down the line pretty quick and through the middle if she needs to.
And we will have our first foul here of the game against Bridgewater College. The Knights with the ball right at about half field. We'll take a direct free. Oh,
looks like a little throw in. Might have just rolled over the line. AR is doing a good job seeing that one.
Yes, the referee whistling the throw in rather than a foul. And Powell back to drop the ball to the new keeper for the Knights, number 1, Katie Vaughn, a freshman out of Spanish Fork, Utah, getting her first looks at what it is like to play NCAA soccer here at this level, and Vaughn looking to save the rest of this game, now falling behind 1-0 really quickly against the Eagles. We'll have to do a really great job in goal, Sam, to make sure that the Eagles don't find the back of the net once again.
Yeah, and again, the Eagles doing a good job moving numbers up quickly and then moving the ball. Goalie comes off her line. Good job to just scoop that up as the touch was just a little bit too far. But again, the Eagles making good progress up the field. You can see they definitely get numbers up quickly and are putting pressure on the Knights' back.
The Knights looking to make something happen, looking for Cora Jewell across the middle, giving up possession to the Eagles, who look for a through ball there to their striker, unable to successfully connect. Back to Katie Vaughn for the Knights, who plays up the field. The Knights play with it on the wing, looking for Taylor Mercer, unable to get that first touch, but the Knights maintain possession back into the back line of the Eagles. Looking for some open space, swinging it around to number 8, Bridget Fabiani. The Eagles looking for some space now. Number 4, Carrie Rager with the ball, creating some home space, looking to find number 5, Grayson Matthews on the sideline, making a run. Could have been dangerous there for the Eagles, but the Knights defender doing a great job at deflecting that pass and disrupting the offensive momentum. Rager with the ball once again, creating her own space, going right up the middle. The Knights back line drops back. Rager with the crossover, still keeping with the ball over to number 21, Bailey Kratz. Goes for the cross, and the Knights will be able to regain possession there.
Yeah, you can see already early the Knights trying to get that shut down in the middle, but I think having a little bit of difficulty with communication between the center backs and the outside backs. I think that's something Coach Cox will definitely try to address and try to fix moving forward, as Bridgewater is definitely having good success just working the ball through there and then finding a good split run right between a couple of the backs. But they make another run down the field here. Looks to go out for a corner kick.
That's number 14, Ann Powell, defending against number 21, Bailey Kratz, the junior out of Telford, Pennsylvania, for the Eagles. And the Eagles will notch their first corner kick of the game. The Knights will have to play some lockdown defense here in the middle of the box, get that ball clear before the Eagles make another attempt at a goal, which would put them up 2-0 really early in this game. The ball is up, punched out by Katie Vaughn for the Knights, and the Knights will clear that ball out of there. Both teams fighting for possession. It's number 2, Annie Sybil, on the sideline for the Eagles. The ball rolls out of bounds for a Knights throw-in. And that is Palmer looking to switch field for the Knights. Deflects, but finds the feet of Taylor Mercer, who plays deep. Trying to find the feet of number 10, Clarissa Barton, the sophomore for the Knights out of Evanston, Wyoming. Just a little too much power on that.
Yeah, again, good vision by the Knights, though. They're definitely looking up, trying to find that run down the line, but I think both passes there just a little bit too strong, a little bit maybe optimistic, trying to find that runner, whether they're there or not. Knights really just kind of need to settle down and wait for Bridgewater to kind of open up, and then they'll find those holes. But for now, they're kind of making some passes that are good in vision, but not quite there yet.
The Eagles with some one-touch passing here on this far side of the field, unable to get the touch which she wanted was number 22, Anna Sobis, who has scored the first goal of the game here for Bridgewater College. Knights throw-in. Knights playing it up the field. Eagles deflect. And both teams really battling here, Sam, to gain possession. A lot of one-touch passing going on, a little inaccurate, falling to the feet of opposing players pretty frequently. Both teams will be looking to gain some dominant possession here and find a rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they both have the right idea. Both teams finding a few quick one-touch passes, but then doesn't last too long. Couple good ones here, and then about this time, usually that long pass is what gets both teams. They're both kind of struggling to find the next level, but Bridgewater so far doing a pretty good job of connecting with their attackers. You can see already they have about 5 players up in the attack of the field, and the Knights trying to do a good job to clear it out here.
Number 10 for the Knights, Clarissa Barton, trying to find that pass which switched field, unable to get that first touch, and the ball rolls out of bounds. Number 3 for the Eagles, Sarah Brennan, takes the throw-in. On the sideline, battling once again is Bailey Kratz and Ann Powell. And it looks like the Eagles are going to Kratz frequently and quickly here in the beginning of this first half of play. And it's a player like Ann Powell that you want the Knights to be marking a player such as Bailey Kratz.
Absolutely. She's very quick, does a really good job of disciplined defending. A lot of times defenders will get caught up and trying to do something, trying to poke the ball out, and they don't just wait. Sometimes you just need to really wait when the attacker has a better position, and Ann Powell does a really good job of keeping the ball in front of her and not letting anything pass. But then once she sees her chance, as she did in the corner there, just make her move and came out with the ball.
Cora Jewell playing it well up the field. Really no threat there for the Eagles. And Haley Talbot will take care of that pretty easily for the Eagles. Her first touch of the game. And she will boot the ball out towards midfield. The ball rolled out of bounds for a Knights throw, and number 20, Cyan Smith, taking the throw off the foot of number 24, Kylie Auger. The Eagles now with the ball, swinging it, and the ball will roll out of bounds, and the Knights will now have a throw-in here in the offensive third, possibly looking for their first offensive threat here of the game.
There's a really good chance for the Knights to set up. Let's see if they can bring some players down and get something going.
Emma Landy, freshman out of Alpine, California, plays off the feet of the Eagles defender. Good crossover there by the Knights. Looking to maintain possession is Allie Rigby on the sideline. The Knights will still maintain possession with a throw-in. Cora Jewell coming into the frame there, trying to make a run on the sideline. Ball's played to Rigby, who attempts a cross into the box, but handled easily by Haley Talbot, the goalkeeper for the Eagles.
Yeah, I think she wanted that cross to be a little bit more back by about 10 or 12 yards. I think she maybe wanted to shoot it originally, but then decided to cross it late or something. But not exactly the ball the Knights are looking for there, but good to see them get that attack and move up and at least get it into the box.
Throwing for the Knights once again. Deflected off the foot of Rigby and back towards the Eagles' back line. Mercer pushing, but not threateningly. Talbot with the ball just outside the box. Jewell in a foot race to the ball, slides and plays it up the field towards Rigby, who gets pushed to the ground. No call from the referee. Clarissa Barton with the ball gets it stolen away by the Eagles, who are running up the field for a counterattack. It's number 3, Sarah Brennan with the ball. Plays the through ball up the field towards number 1, Bailey Kratz, and the Knights are caught off their line. Kratz crosses it in with her left foot, and it will fly outside of the in line for a Knights goal kick. Dangerous counterattack there from the Eagles, Sam.
Yeah, you can see they're definitely trying to utilize that through ball where they get a runner on the front line just to split the defenders. Doing a pretty good job of playing that ball pretty deep. You saw them get possession there right at the end line. If they could have gotten a few people forward, that's a really dangerous cross in. Unfortunately, that one just sailed out for them, but that's a pretty good ball. It looks like they're trying the same tactic again here as they bring it into the box.
And that is a beautiful save there by number 1, Katie Vaughn for the Knights, the freshman goalkeeper out of Spanish Fork, Utah. As number 4, Carrie Rager, the senior out of Laurel, Maryland, for the Eagles, put a good cross just outside of the box, created some space for herself, and took the left-footed shot.
Yeah, it's a good job by the goalie. They'll be in the right position, make it a tough shot for her, even if she did get a pretty good turn on her defender. Corner comes in, falls to the ground. Looks like Cora Jewell does a good job clearing that out, so the Knights can push back up the field.
Mercer looking to gain possession of the ball with some speed. Plays it out in front of herself, looking to cross back here. Able to maintain possession, drops back. Mercer still pressing up the field as the Eagles regain possession. And the ball will roll out of bounds for a Knights throw-in. That is number 20, Cyan Smith for the Knights. Drawing the ball off with the jersey. Looking for a player here in the offensive third for the Knights. Rigby falls to the ground. Eagles with the ball in the back line. Swinging it to the center back. Up the field to number 4, Rager. Looking for a first touch, unable to get it. Ann Powell tries to clear it up the field, deflected off of the Eagles midfielder. And the Knights will have a throw-in. It's number 3, Emma Landy. And the Eagles with possession, making a run down the field. It's number 5, Matthews. Looking for the attacker in the middle of the field. The Knights deflect it back to the Eagles' back line. And the ball will roll out of bounds once again for an Eagles throw-in.
And you can see Bridgewater College here. Usually they're doing an interesting thing with their lines here where they're basically either full-on attacking or full-on defending. They haven't really had too much possession in the midfield. They're basically trying to skip through the midfield. And you can see already they have quite a few attackers up in the front, and then a big 20-yard gap where there's really only 1 or 2 players most of the time, and then their 4 defenders are in the back. But they're trying to just work over the middle of the Knights, and really they've done a decent job at it, but it's an interesting tactic to try to see how many attackers they have, and then they keep 4 in the back, and they're basically either attacking or defending, but their midfield is almost not really there. The Knights, I don't think, used to this, and so that's why they've been caught off guard by the long ball through. It is difficult to defend because you want to use your mids to mark their mids, but when their mid isn't there, it is very difficult to mark them.
Difficult to mark, but opens the door for the Knights to create some good counterattacks.
It absolutely does. They're doing a pretty good job. You can see they have a few right in the middle, kind of staying in that triangle if they can, but really it's a different tactic. I think they'll have some good adjustments to make, but really doing a pretty good job of keeping the ball in front of them and playing a pretty good game here so far.
And it's interesting the point that you bring up here, Sam, considering the fact that they're either pursuing somewhat of an all-out attack or an all-out defense against the Knights. You wonder if maybe pace will come into play here later in the game with those midfielders who are playing so far up on an all-out attack or so far back on an all-out defense against the Knights, requiring a lot of running through the middle of the field, and you wonder if Bridgewater College will maybe tire out a little bit later in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't seen any substitutions yet, but as we saw in the men's game last week, when temperatures are like this, a little bit of rain too, you can see some cramping and some other things. Obviously, we don't want to see any injuries today, but it can affect how the players play. So we'll see how it goes as we were 15 minutes in.
And that was Clarissa Barton on the sideline for the Knights, trying to create some space and find open players for the Knights, but not a whole lot of help from the midfielders and attackers there. You'd love to see the Knights maybe get into some space and give Barton an opportunity to pass the ball off and create some other offensive opportunities.
Yeah, I think that's another point to address is most of these players are fairly young. There's only a few upperclassmen, kind of the leaders of the team here, but that's the hardest part of any team is trying to get them to work together, and they're all trying to figure out the other person's strengths, and so they're working together, but it's hard to support them when you're not exactly sure which run to make or where to be, what they're looking for. So again, that's something that Coach Cox is trying to work with them on, and the Knights definitely are trying to adjust to.
Seeing her first minutes of the game for the Knights is number 5, Alyssa Winterton, the junior out of Charlottesville, Virginia. Coming back for what I believe is her second season with the Knights. And Coach Cox seeing potential in her in the midfield. And hopefully the Knights will be able to fill up what has been a little bit of lapse in the midfield so far in the first 18 minutes of this half, with possibly Winterton getting some good distribution into attackers such as Allie Rigby or Taylor Mercer up front. Eagles with the goal kick. And the ball will roll out of bounds for a Knights throw-in. The Knights take the throw-in off the leg of Taylor Mercer. Number 24, Kylie Auger, battling for the ball. It will roll out of bounds, and there's some confusion as to who has the throw-in. The referee elects to give it to Bridgewater College off the foot of Matthews there. Off the foot of Matthews once again, and the Knights looking to gain possession. Jewell with the ball in the midfield. Crosses back, looking for an open player. Looking for Rigby. Rigby battling for possession. Cora Jewell clears it up the field, and the Knights really battling for possession here in the offensive third. Jewell with the ball once again, able to cross over a defender, and the Knights have numbers if they can find open players. Looking for Rigby right over the middle. Unable to connect, and Bridgewater College desperately trying to clear that ball out as the Knights trying to put the pressure on Mercer. Back to the center.
Referee getting part of the play there.
Some intense play here in the referee. I must have been feeling left out there, Sam.
Seems like a good one-touch pass by the ref there to interrupt a little string of passes, Bridgewater College. You see the Knights trying to settle down a little bit, work it back, keep this possession. That's a good sign from them. If they can continue to just find these passes. They had a good little string there. They weren't exactly accurate or to the feet, but they did a good job of maintaining possession nonetheless.
And some very physical play there by Landy for the Knights, coming in and putting a shoulder on the attacker for Bridgewater College. Barton here now battling for possession once again. And the Eagles will drop back to their back line. Sybil with the ball. Passing it up to Kreider. Kreider looking for an open player.
See, and you can see right here, it's exactly what Bridgewater's doing. They have this big gap right in the center of the field, and it's either you're an attacker or you're a defender. So that's why she's having such a hard time right in the middle of the field, because she either has to go way forward or way backwards. She likes to go way forward and up the field. But right now the Bridgewater College is outnumbered, and the Knights doing a good job of shutting that down. And now you can see the Knights in the middle of the field have their midfielders, and so they can work it up a lot better. And so that's definitely what they're trying to take advantage of here.
The Eagles maintaining possession, dropping it to the back line once again. Barton creating some high pressure, hopefully forcing the Eagles into a bad pass. The ball switched field over to number 3, Brennan, who has some space. Looking for Rager, and the Knights will deflect that out. Barton running up the field in a foot race. And the ball will be played out of bounds by the Eagles defense. Landy with the throw-in for the Knights. Up the field, off the head of Eagles, number 18, White. In the midfield to now number 5, Matthews for the Eagles, playing it down to the sideline. Back to the middle. That's the feet of Kreider, who's playing up the field for Rager.
It's that same ball they keep going for all the way down the line, and then just try to work it in, get across here. Knights doing a good job being in the middle, recognizing that's happened before, and Powell running out, running a pretty good switch with her outside back. Doing a good job there.
And you can see a stark difference here between goalkeepers for women's night soccer and men's night soccer, whereas Colin Flynn would have most likely come way off his line there to go grab that ball a little more aggressively. You can see freshman goalkeeper for Knights women's soccer, Katie Vaughn, electing to stay in the goal and allow the Knights back line to drop back into the box and create some defense there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a little bit of a dangerous move to try to come off the line. Again, Colin Flynn, the men's goalie, very talented and also very bold goalkeeper. Definitely not afraid to come off his line. Usually plays a little bit off. Katie Vaughn, I think a little bit closer to home, a little bit more between the posts. Doing a good job nonetheless. That was a smart decision there to stay back as the ball was not quite coming into the middle of the box, is coming out into the corner. So that's a very dangerous 10 or 15-yard run. So she makes the right decision. But again, Colin Flynn, the men's goalie, definitely does like coming off his line. Doing a good job, both teams.
As you said, neither one right or wrong. Definitely have to use some discernment there to assess the situation. Vaughn making the right decision in that case.
Absolutely.
The Eagles with the ball on the back line once again. That back line pushing up towards midfield. Barton putting on some high pressure off the chest of Rigby, who deflects back to the back line, who drops it back to their goalkeeper, Talbot. And you can see Barton on this near side of the field really providing some high-intensity pressure against the Eagles so far here in this first half, which, from what I can see, is attributed to the Knights regaining possession a few times.
Yeah, absolutely. She's done a pretty good job of holding on to the ball. She put a pretty good few moves on there once she gets it and trying to find someone else, but I think the Knights still getting used to each other, still getting used to the style of play, and I think, well, good ball here down into the corner by Cora Jewell. Let's see if they can get anything out of this.
Barton looking for a little kick back there, unable to complete the play. The Knights still with possession. Barton now with the ball crossing over, trying to create some space for herself. Drops back to Landy, and the ball will roll out of bounds for the Eagles. Powell doing a great job getting that right leg across and clearing the ball out of bounds. Give the Knights some time to drop some midfielders back and help the defense. Eagles with the throw-in, Rager with the ball. Passing the ball out there for Kratz. And the ball will roll past the inline for another Eagles corner kick, their second of the game.
Entering the game for the Eagles, number 16, Rachel Bullard.
And corner's another area that really neither team has done particularly well on in the game so far. Both teams have actually had less corner kicks than either of their opponents for Bridgewater and for Southern Virginia. So I think Bridgewater as well, not particularly the height advantage in the box usually, but they've done a pretty good job of getting it in at least. Ball looks to just roll out. The Knights elect to clear it and didn't make it all the way across.
The Knights desperately trying to get this ball out of their defensive third. And the cross came from number 23, Isabella Kreider for the Eagles. And I believe it was number 21, Bailey Kratz, making a run on that back post. And the ball just a little too high for her liking, unable to control it and put it in the back of the net. Lucky for the Knights, though, as they're able to clear it out. And it's Allie Rigby diving there. Could have been dangerous against the Eagles had she connected with that tackle. Unable to do so, and the Eagles get away with one there. Rigby desperately hoping she could have got that one back, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's every attacker's dream to poke that ball past the back line and then get a one-on-one with the goalie. But it's a risky play, definitely.
Knights cleared the ball up the field. Jewell with the ball, unable to maintain possession, looking for the through ball, or the Eagles. Am Powell now with the ball in a little bit of space. Passes it to the sideline, up the field, to the feet of Taylor Mercer. But the ball will bounce out of bounds, and the Eagles will have another throw-in. Deflection by the Knights. Eagles maintain possession. Bridgewater looking to switch field here. Barton coming into the middle of the field to assist, gets a foot on it, deflects it back, buys a little bit more time for the Knights defense. And the ball crossed high over the center and will roll out for a Southern Virginia University goal kick. We have a couple substitutions here on the field for Bridgewater College. Two within the last about 60 seconds. First, checking in for the Eagles, number 16, Rachel Bullard, freshman out of Culpeper, Virginia. And now entering the game, number 7, a freshman out of Midlothian, Virginia, Hunter Collier, playing forward for the Eagles. Looking to get some fresh legs into the game. The Knights only with one substitution so far, the Eagles with 2. Eagles with the ball towards the back of the box, going to the second level here, looking for the left-footed shot, deflected off of Ann Powell, who keeps with the ball, running up the field. Ooh, and if she would have beat that side defender for the Eagles, or midfielder rather, Could have been a dangerous run there for Barton for the Knights.
Yeah, absolutely. Good play by both teams there. You can see Bridgewater College on that last cross having one player coming out of the box and then one player going in, both being dangerous, and Powell then doing a good job of getting down the line and trying to play the ball down the line again. But the defender by Bridgewater College doing a good job of just stopping that as well.
Ball deflected off the feet there of Cyan Smith for the Knights, which will go out for Bridgewater College's third corner kick of the game. Can see 6 players in the box there for Bridgewater College. The Knights looking to mark them all, and the ball will fly out of harm's way and out of bounds for a Knights goal kick.
Entering the game for the Knights, number 26, McCall Jensen.
And the Knights looking to match the substitutions of Bridgewater College with their second of the game. Freshman McCall Jensen out of Ramsey, New Jersey will take the field. As the Knights look to get reset prior to this goal kick. Electing to play it out to Landy on the sideline, who drops to Vaughn. Vaughn playing it up the field. Looks like she mishit it slightly. The Knights looking to recover and make sure that nothing threatening comes of it. The Eagles switching field once again. To the feet of Sybil, playing it up the field to the middle. Powell for the Knights clears it up the field, finds the feet of Barton, who's unable to get the first touch. Looked like she was looking up the field prior to making the touch, and it's now the Eagles looking for the second level cross. And a dangerous run there by number 7, just entering the game for the Eagles, Hunter Collier, the freshman out of Midlothian, Virginia. Vaughn able to handle that pretty easily.
It's a good job by the sub, though, just getting into the game instantly, making a good run there. Didn't quite come off her foot the way she wanted to, but that's a good job nonetheless.
Looks like the ball came just outside of the sideline. Be a Knights throw-in. Landy taking the throw-in for the Knights. Jewel unable to get the touch she wanted, but able to recover Barton with the ball. And the ball will roll out of bounds. Brennan with a throw-in. And then with the pass up the field. Good crossover there by Kreider, who plays up the field looking for the feet of Sobis. Jensen putting some pressure on the Eagles' defense. Eagles switching the field once again, doing a lot of switch field play here. Able to maintain possession, looking at the through wall on the backside for number 4, Rager. But Powell able to deal with that and clear it out.
Entering the game for Bridgewater, number 10.
Yeah, you can see a lot of long passes from Bridgewater College here, doing most of their passing to try to either cross the field or get it, 20 yards up the field at a time. Not really working through the midfield too much. It seems to be working for them a little bit. That seems to be the game strategy, but an interesting one nonetheless.
Bridgewater College with another substitution during that small break. Entering the game is number 10, Morgan Todd, a sophomore out of Roanoke, Virginia, in the midfield. Little physical battle there on the sideline as the ball rolls out of bounds and off the feet of Bridgewater College. The Knights with the throw-in. Playing up the field, Jensen looking for the ball, plays it high up into the air, looking for Barton, who plays it off of her head, who falls to the ground. No call from the referee. And I don't believe, if I'm mistaken here, Sam, that we've had a foul called yet this game, actually.
I don't think so. Just a lot of throw-ins and corners, but no actual, no fouls so far.
A little bit of pushing and shoving, but nothing that would merit a foul just yet. Jensen with a little dive there, unable to successfully complete the tackle. But the ball will roll out of bounds for another Knights throw-in. Thrown by Landy to the feet of Jensen.
Entering the game for the Eagles, number 8, Bridget Fabiani.
And we will have yet another substitution here For the Eagles, sophomore forward, number 8, Bridget Fabiani out of Bayport, New York, will take the place of Carrie Rager, who's created a few high-stress situations for the Knights defense.
Yeah, she's done a pretty good job out there on the side. I think her and Barton have been going at it a little bit, having a pretty good battle down there.
Eagles with the ball on the far side, looking for an opportunity. Elects to drop the ball back in the space, cross over the middle. Deflected out by the Knights, but the Eagles will maintain possession. That is number 8, Cora Jewell, looking to regain possession for the Knights. Bridgewater College fighting to maintain possession, and they do so. Another cross into the middle. Finds number 22, Anna Sobis, but the Knights able to clear that out. But the Eagles not done, looking for Vaughn to come off her line a little bit, but she is perfectly situated right there in the goal for an easy save.
Yeah, that's a great job. That's a pretty long shot. I think that would have been surprising if that made it in from about 35, 40 yards. That's a pretty interesting shot. But again, Vaughn doing a good job staying on her line, staying disciplined. A very different style than the men's game, but again, the correct one so far, as that ball definitely would have gone over had she have come out for some of the earlier plays.
Rigby looking to play Jensen. The Knights lose possession once again. Eagles with the ball. Landy creating some pressure right there with Barton on the sideline. Sarah Brennan for the Eagles with the throw in. Looking to find Sobis, but the Knights with possession. Looking for the feet of Jensen. The ball roll out of bounds once again, this time for Bridgewater College throw in, and we will have another substitution.
Game for the Eagles, number 1, Sydney Davis, and number 15, Hannah Moser.
And that will be 2 more substitutions for Bridgewater College. Number 1, Sydney Davis, I believe is what they said. But it doesn't look like that she will be in the goal. She'll be taking the field.
Yes, and then number 15, Hannah Moser, moving into the left back position. Again, an interesting decision there to bring the goalie out onto the field as a player.
Nice with the ball. Good crossover there by Landy. Playing it up the field, looking for McCall Jensen. The Eagles will drop it back. Definitely not shy in involving their back line this game to switch field and really maintain possession and look for space. Ball rolls out of bounds. Knights throw in. Just over 10 minutes remaining here in the first half. Bridgewater College leads your Southern Virginia Knights 1-0 following a very quick goal by Bridgewater College in about a minute and a half by number 22, Anna Sobis, I believe.
I believe so.
For Bridgewater College, who was in a one-on-one situation, just beautiful through ball right off the bat, catching the Knights off their back line and putting the Eagles up early.
And that seems to have been their strategy since, try to get that same through ball down into the corner, either on a one-on-one or try to find a cross right after. But Bridgewater College electing to stick with the same strategy they had for the 90 seconds so far for, well, in the first 40 minutes. But
and it looks like we'll have our first foul called of the game against Bridgewater College. Free kick for the Knights. Playing it deep over the middle. Beautiful ball over the top, looking for McCall Jensen.
looks like some fog definitely starting to roll in across the field here as well. See if that impacts some of the long balls that Bridgewater College is trying to play.
Yeah, coming from the side of the broadcasting booth here, Sam. Just wanted to make sure our shed wasn't on fire.
I think we're good, actually, yeah.
As that smoke rolls across the field. Luckily, just fog. We're okay. We appreciate all of your concern for those viewing the broadcast with us. Both teams in a battle for possession here. And the ball roll out of bounds for a Southern Virginia throw-in.
Both teams so far electing to just keep their throw-ins simple, usually just have one runner, the fairly obvious moving towards the ball, and then maybe one away. But both teams, for the most part, keeping it pretty simple on that. I think maybe if they made a little bit more of an effort on some of those throw-ins, they could continue the possession a little bit more. But the Knights doing a good job here of taking advantage of the throw-in, move the ball up the field well.
Landy with the beautiful ball to the feet of Jensen. Jensen just barely misses number 24 for the Knights, Kylie Auger. But the Knights will maintain possession. Cora Jewell with the ball. Crossing over, creating space for herself in the midfield, looking down the right line for Barton. Barton will get the ball before it rolls out of bounds. Looking for space. Landy coming up, making a beautiful run. And the cross comes into the box. Off the feet of Rigby, deflected by the Eagles. Left-footed shot there for McCall Jensen. And Haley Talbot barely getting to the ball as it goes far post. And the Knights with their first truly dangerous offensive threat here of the game. And a beautiful cross there by number 3, Emma Landy, coming way back from her holding midfield position and creating some trouble there for the Eagles' back line.
Absolutely. That was a great string of passes by the Knights there. You can see they've been kind of wanting to go to that all game. Barton's been doing a great job on that sideline. They finally connect, great pass in, and then finally Barton got the support she needed, that just one extra pass or that one extra player as the midfielder pushes up, results in a great cross, rebound off the defender, and then another shot. I mean, a great job by the Knights there. That's what they've been trying to do all game. That's just well executed from the midfield up to the strikers and the midfield support. Then the ball comes in the right place. As you can see, players making the right run. That was just a great string of passes by the Knights there as they get really a very dangerous chance. If that shot comes off a little stronger, a little bit of a deflection against that defender, anything happens there, that ends up in the back of the net easy.
And you hope that following an offensive possession such as that one, Sam, that the Knights gain a little bit of confidence and are able to start reproducing those kinds of scenarios for themselves in the offensive third.
Yeah, absolutely. That, again, it's very difficult for the teams to come together this early in the season. It's very impressive to see that kind of play on different levels from the team. So that's really a good sign moving forward, especially if we're only 40 minutes into the game, and they definitely will try to continue to do that.
A lot of 50-50 balls here towards midfield. Both teams fighting for possession once again. The Knights looking for Rigby on the sideline. Rigby battling for possession. The Eagles find space in the middle of the field and will advance. The Knights back line looking to drop back. Finds the feet of the sub, Hunter Collier, who's unable to find the pass that she wanted with her left foot. Now it's Fabiani battling with Ann Powell. Drops back to Brennan. Brennan crossing to the middle and then looking to find a nice through ball there, but the Knights do a good job blocking down the center there on defense once again. And the Knights now looking for a quick counterattack over the top there to Barton.
Same ball they tried on the last attack. Let's see what she can do. The same run in. Can they get a good cross in here? Oh!
And we will have a foul in the penalty box, no question there, as it is Landy taking the fall for the Knights. And the foul will go against number 8, Bridget Fabiani. No card, just a foul called, but definitely no question there. And the Knights will have their first opportunity here of the game at a penalty kick to level things up with only 5 minutes remaining here in the first half. Up to take the PK for the Knights is number 20, Cyan Smith. One of those players named to the all-tournament team last weekend despite their loss to Meredith, but this would be huge, Sam.
This would absolutely be great. The momentum going into halftime.
And she sails the ball just over the crossbar. Heartbreaking there for the Knights as Smith is not able to put the penalty kick in, and the Knights will remain down 1-0.
Yes, I think she elected to just keep the ball in the center and just try to power it through. Sometimes when you lean back just a little bit too much, that can be a tough thing to do. You want to kind of put your knee over the ball, lean forward a little bit, and you can still get the power, but you want to stay on top of it. Unless you're trying to kick a field goal, then you want to lean back a lot. And having tried both of those in this sport, you definitely want to lean over the ball. Really a good attempt by the Knights there, though, getting the free kick, getting the PK in the box, and then unfortunately not able to capitalize on it. Just a little bit, maybe too excited a bit, first game and first PK, but unfortunate by the Knights there.
But as you mentioned, Sam, almost an identical offensive run there for the Knights, playing Barton over the top, long ball. She gets there. Landy makes the run just below her and is unable to get the cross in on the second time because she was pushed to the ground and foul committed by the Eagles. But the Knights now, within the past 2 to 3 minutes of play, have successfully gotten into the offensive third and created some trouble there for the Eagles defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's so valuable about that run is when Barton gets the ball over the top, she doesn't try to shield off the ball into the corner. She immediately turns so that she's facing the defender so that she can find the option that's either coming in or she can try to cross if she needs to. So far, though, up until those last couple runs, she'd only really been able to kind of just keep control of the ball and turn repeatedly, but there hadn't really been that much support. You can see the Knights now moving the ball up, moving more players up and giving her that support. And look what happens. A great chance on the first one results in a PK on the second one. They'll definitely try to continue to do that as Barton does a really good job of shielding until she has possession and then turning very quickly to face the goal and not the sideline. It gives her so much more playing space. So Barton doing a really good job down in the corner there. I'm sure the Knights will continue to feed her down there.
And within the last 5 minutes of play, an obvious change in offensive momentum here at the fields at Southern Virginia University. The Knights now taking matters into their own hands, unable to complete the play there on that penalty kick by Cyan Smith, but obvious momentum change here in favor of the Knights.
Definitely. They're doing a much better job of moving the ball up the field and connecting, almost playing Bridgewater's game of trying to get that long ball over the top. The Knights turn the ball over in a dangerous area here. We'll see if, electing to just take the foul right outside the 18-yard box. In a very dangerous area. We'll see where they can set up a wall here.
And it was Cora Jewell there for the Knights who was unable to clear it, mishit the ball slightly and gave possession back up to the Eagles, in which case she had to desperately turn around and commit a foul. Luckily, no card given, but a direct free kick given just outside the box, and it will be senior defender number 3, Sarah Brennan from Annandale, Virginia, taking the direct free kick. Deflected off the hands of Katie Vaughn and into the upper crossbar, and that was dangerous there for the Knights. Vaughn comes out looking to control the ball and is able to do so. The Knights hold their breath there and able to give a sigh of relief as they come out, able to get rid of that dangerous offensive possession by the Eagles.
Yeah, that was a tough one there. Katie Vaughn doing a good job, though. It's such a tough decision sometimes when that ball comes in and you're already off your line a little bit. Do you move back? Do you go forward? She did a good job of kind of playing in the middle there, and then when the ball was played, she was just able to get a hold of it. She was very, very close to not letting that end so well, but she did a good job of being there for it to stop it before it could get any worse.
Ball rolls out of bounds on the far line. Knights throwing here. Just a minute and 10 seconds remaining here in the first half. The Knights looking to string together maybe one or two more offensive threats here prior to the end of the half. It would be huge if the Knights could get one goal back and level things up here prior to halftime.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a really big turn in the last few minutes of the game. So at the beginning, definitely within the first 90 seconds, Bridgewater College pretty much took offensive control, but now we see the Knights doing a great job keeping the ball down in their attacking third and really doing a good job even now as they move the ball backwards, maintaining possession and really providing a good attacking threat as they now get to that next level, doing a good job keeping their heads up, keeping control of the ball.
Barton with the ball. 30 seconds remaining here in the first half. Now Landy on the sideline. Landy moving into some center space here in the midfield. Ball deflected by the Eagles. Off the head of Jensen for the Knights. Able to create some space here, being shouldered off there by the Eagles. Eagles looking to clear the ball desperately. Schroeder elects to turn back. 8 seconds remaining here in the first half. And the ball will be cleared out of bounds by Bridgewater College. The Knights pushing dangerously there once again at the very end of the first half, trying desperately to get their first goal and of the game and of the season into the back of the net. But some offensive momentum coming in favor of the Knights here at the end of the first half as they go down 1-0, preparing for the second half here at halftime.
Yeah, I think the last few seconds, 60 seconds or so, were a pretty good indication of how the Knights are feeling, though. You can see the frustration, everybody trying to get that shot off, everybody really wanting that. And I think that was what was lacking in the first 15, 20 minutes for the Knights. But you can see they've definitely picked it up now. And hopefully it won't be too much to come back from. They definitely have had their attacking chances now. We've seen them really build something. They can address a couple things at halftime and then come back strong at the start of the second.
The Knights having a lot of success there with Barton and Landy up on this program here, given the camera shot here on the near side of the field. It will be the far side here in the second half on the other side of the field. But having a lot of success with those couple of players, the Knights just needing to connect a little bit more in the middle of the field and able to get some clean shots off. Like we said, a lot of offensive momentum for the Knights. What do you think some notes, Sam, that Coach Cox might give her players would be during this halftime as they prepare for the second half?
I think she's going to have a conversation with Ann Powell and the outside backs. Definitely Bridgewater's strategy hasn't changed. It stayed exactly the same. They play that long ball through over the top, down almost to the very, very end line. Ann Powell makes a good run out, and then what needs to happen is her outside back needs to come in and play center back. They almost got caught off a little bit there because it does create a hole once Ann pulls out of the middle, and they need to cover that very quickly. It's just a little A-B switch is what we called it, but it's very, very important because if Ann's out, Bridgewater can just run one player through, which is consistently what they've done. So I think she'll be addressing her back four at halftime for sure.
So a little bit of recap here in the first half prior to our halftime break. Bridgewater College up on your Southern Virginia Knights 1-0 as Bridgewater College's number 22, Anna Sobis, the senior out of Spotsylvania, Virginia, notches the first goal of the game for Bridgewater College in just about a minute and a half on a one-on-one against Katie Vaughn and puts it in the back of the net. The Knights since then doing a great job on defense and really battling for possession where has been both teams during the whole first half. It wasn't until about the last 8 to 10 minutes of play in the first half that the Knights really found some offensive momentum in their favor. Created a penalty kick opportunity taken by Cyan Smith, number 20 for the Knights, who unfortunately sailed the ball over the crossbar and was unable to level things up for the Knights. But the Knights, as we said, going into halftime with some offensive momentum. We'll come back to you here in about 12 minutes and 45 seconds. Stick with us here for more Knight Soccer. Knights fans, welcome back to the fields here at Southern Virginia University as we prepare for the second half of play here in Knights women's soccer home opener against the Eagles of Bridgewater College. The Knights entering the second half down 1-0 following a second-minute goal by Eagles rather, Anna Sobis, the senior out of Spotsylville, Virginia, who received a great long ball by number 3, Sarah Brennan, the senior out of Annandale, Virginia, which put them up early quickly. The Knights did a great job at locking down the defense for the rest of the half and gaining some offensive momentum here. As they enter the second half, we'll see how the Knights build upon that momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams definitely trying to make some adjustments at halftime. You can see already Bridgewater electing to use the midfield a little bit more. You see the back four across the line there, but then you can see the two midfielders kind of holding mids a little bit, trying to bridge the gap that they had in the first half between the strikers and the defenders. I think Coach definitely addressed that, as most of their balls were pretty long. I think they definitely didn't really have much short passing game, so I think that was something that they definitely talked about at halftime. The Knights obviously making a few adjustments, realizing late in the first half that they definitely had a pretty good attack running down the side with Clarissa Barton, and definitely looking to take advantage of that here in the second half as well.
On the back line, that's number 21, Kira Tolbert for the Knights, getting her first minutes of the game. The Knights looking to pass the ball here to the near line to number 15, or 16 rather, Airdrie Palmer. Ball plays back to goalkeeper Katie Vaughn.
Both teams already very much more composed than they were in the last 10 minutes of the first half. Both teams slowing down the play a little bit, trying to find a few passes. Not quite lazy, but definitely a slower pace than we saw in the first half, particularly at the end.
Ball played back to Matthews. Ooh, and a dangerous cross there by the Eagles. Sent in by Rager on the far side to the middle. And great job by the Knights center back there in clearing that ball out of danger. Jewel clearing the ball up the field, looking for Barton. Unable to connect. The Eagles now on the retreat. Switching the ball over the middle. And that's Palmer for the Knights, just overshooting the read on that pass just a little bit.
Both players thinking the other player was going to come in strong there, and I think it just managed to squeeze right between both of them.
Palmer with the ball. Gives up possession to the Eagles. Looking for the through ball and able to do so, but unable to get the correct touches there for the Eagles. And the Eagles put that ball into the middle. Tolbert cleared it out with their head. And the Eagles with some dangerous play there inside the Knights box. The Knights defenders really getting off their line and getting a little bit mixed up there, trying to find their position and find their line and find players to mark.
Yeah, definitely caught off guard there, the back line of the Knights, but doing a good job in getting the ball out and making sure it didn't end up in the back of the net. But definitely some confusion there. Something I saw a little bit of in the first half as well. And Powell does a good job coming out and then making the initial stop, but then the coverage in the center has been a bit of an issue for the Knights. The Eagles definitely taking advantage of that, getting the ball in repeatedly there.
So following the first half of play, the Knights going to halftime with a lot of momentum on their side. Bridgewater College coming out here in the second half attempting to make a statement and showing that they can bounce back from the end of the first half despite not giving up a goal, but definitely giving up momentum. The Knights now looking for their first real threat here of the second half, looking for the feet of Cyan Smith and Airdrie Palmer. Not sure exactly who the ball was intended for. Auger overruns that pass a little bit. Great tackle there by Kira Tolbert for the Knights. Taylor Mercer with the pass over to Tolbert. Leads her just a little bit too much. Landy in a foot race there with Rager on the sideline. And Landy elects just to clear it out there quickly, to buy a little bit of time there for the Knights midfielders and defenders to get back. That's Kratz and Powell on the sideline, and the ball rolls out for a Knights throw-in. Landy throws the ball in off the head of the Knights. Barton looking for a player. Playing back to Powell. Powell just clears it up the field, trying to get it out of danger. Eagles now with the ball, looking to make a run. Ooh, and almost finding the feet there dangerously of senior midfielder Grayson Matthews from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Leads are just a little too much, and the ball rolls out of bounds for a goal kick.
Yeah, the Knights having a tough time marking up every single player. They definitely are trying not to give up those splits that go through, but again, the Eagles almost connecting there, almost getting a really dangerous pass in behind the Knights line. But again, Knights doing a pretty good job for the most part, but it's usually just one player that they leave unmarked, and the Eagles so far have been able to find that player pretty well, but not able to get the pass exactly where they needed to on that one.
Ball finds the feet of Taylor Mercer, looking for a player in space. Barton comes over. Bounces off a defender, maintains possession. The left-footed pass out to Palmer. Palmer now looking for a player. Mercer calling for it. Tries the one-touch pass to Rigby. Rigby trying to fight off the defender, who successfully fights Rigby off. And a great job there by the center back, Annie Sybil, the sophomore defender out of Arlington, Virginia, to clear that ball out. The Knights almost with their first goal of the game there as Mercer one-touch passes to Rigby there in the inside the box.
Yeah, the Knights doing a much better job of connecting all the way up into the attacking third of the field. They had a couple good runs in the first half, but really aside from that, didn't have too much success on it. But now they're kind of slowing down and working their way up, doing a pretty good job of that.
Cyan Smith finds the feet of Rigby. Oh, Rigby with the great crossover. Plays into the middle of the field looking for Barton. Barton plays. The ball remains in play. The goalkeeper unable to come up with it. Rigby crosses over to the middle of the field, finds the feet of Cora Jewell, who unloads and finds the back of the net from distance, about 25 yards out. Beautifully placed ball there by Cora Jewell to find the bottom left corner of the net, Sam.
That was a great job by the Knights. Definitely dangerous getting it in. You saw Barton doing a great job of keeping the ball active. The goalie coming out for it, but not quite able to dive on top of it. And then just to lay it off into the center of the field, that's a perfectly placed ball. A lot of times people get caught up trying to just cross it right back into the center, but doing a good job of dropping it back about 20 yards, but soft enough that it was able to just still be shot with. I mean, it wasn't even particularly a hard shot. It's just a pass into the back of the net, which is exactly what needed to happen. So great job by the Knights there, having good vision to move the ball where they needed to.
Great team effort overall. It was number 10, Clarissa Barton, creating some problems there as she approached the goalkeeper one-on-one in the box. And instead of laying off the ball when she realized that she wasn't going to get a clean shot, she continued to follow it and created some problems with the goalkeeper, who was unable to handle it. In which case, number 4, Allie Rigby, comes up, follows up the play of Barton, and is able to cross back to Cora Jewell, who, ironically enough, I saw during halftime, Sam, practicing those long shots from the center of the field, most of them through the air, trying to find the upper right and left 90s during halftime, but this time finds the lower corner, but still, ironically enough, is able to get the opportunity at one of those long shots during the game, and she just capitalized.
Yeah, that's a great job, especially recognizing that I think the goalie had overcorrected just slightly. Haley Talbot, from the first initial engagement, she tried to get back into the center of the goal, but you can't exactly gauge where you are, and so I think she had overcorrected just a little bit and gone farther to the far post. Again, recognizing that and not putting too much power on it, but again, just passing it to the near post there. Cora Jewell doing a great job of recognizing where the goalie was and just taking the easy shot rather than trying to finesse the ball or get it too complicated.
And based on the final offensive play for the Knights following or going into halftime, rather, the Knights have really, you almost could say it was just a matter of time. The Knights able to continue building upon that momentum here in the second half. And just about 8 minutes into the second half, the Knights have found their first goal and hoping now to not remain level, but to go ahead and find their first lead of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. The momentum has clearly shifted. The Knights definitely pressing harder now. Even though they have given up a few of these plays like this in their defensive third, doing a good job of keeping the pressure on Bridgewater College and really not allowing them to have anything. You can see them already working the ball back up, connecting some passes, utilizing the center of the field, trying to a little bit more, and then staying calm even when they get in those situations down in the attacking third, doing a good job of still looking for the other players, looking to try to find the help. I think Coach Cox probably addressed that at halftime. They were having a tough time finding the help that when they get into a troubled situation, but doing a much better job this half, and you can see it's paying off for them.
So the Knights now level with the Eagles of Bridgewater College following that Cora Jewell goal, senior for the Knights in the midfield, in the assist from number 4, Allie Rigby, the freshman forward out of Rexburg, Idaho. Beautiful play from the Knights. Now looking to capitalize on some more offensive play and some mental momentum now. Wow, that kind of rhymed a little bit there, Sam.
Not a bad saying. Might keep that one around.
Yeah, might or might not. Eagles with the ball now on the far sideline. It's number 4, Rager, creating some space against Powell. Crossing over, crosses backwards, gets the left-footed shot, and great save there by Katie Vaughn on the near post to disallow the shot from the Eagles, who could have possibly gone up 2-1 there.
Yeah, good job by Katie Vaughn, staying disciplined, staying on that near post, recognizing there was a couple defenders kind of covering the shot that could have gone to the far post, and again, staying between the goalposts, doing a good job, just making sure everything's in front of her, and then just getting on top of the ball. Good job there, not letting it get out, even though the conditions are a little bit wet. Sometimes goalies are having a hard time holding on to it pregame a little bit on some of the tougher shots, but a good job of just keeping it in her hands and staying on top of it there.
Matthews passes the ball back, taking a long right-footed shot, and Vaughn unable to grab it or catch the ball in her hands, bobbles it a little bit, but luckily no upper pressure there from the Eagles forwards, and she's able to clear that ball out of the box.
Yeah, again, as we just mentioned, the conditions a little bit wet, can make it difficult for the goalies to hold on to. Gloves are really good for deflecting, but sometimes holding on to it in these conditions are a little bit more tough, but good job not letting it go between her legs, at least, into the goal.
And we will have our first substitution of the half here. Number 5, Alyssa Winterton, enters the game for the Knights in the midfield in the place of number 10, Clarissa Barton, the sophomore out of Evanston, Wyoming. And you wonder if Winterton will finish out this game, or if Coach Cox is possibly giving Barton a little breather here in the middle portion of the second half, just to have her come back on here in the final minutes with some fresh legs, as she was a force to be reckoned with in the first half on some dangerous Knights offensive plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see another great tactical change here by the Knights on the throw-in. They're having much more active players. Before, sometimes they just kind of walk towards the ball or away from it, not really engage in the play. But there you can see at least 3 different players making a move away from or towards the ball to create space, doing a much more active job. And I think that's the momentum that comes from scoring. Once you get that goal, you're much more inclined to speed up your run a little bit, or be a little more positive about moving towards the ball, even on kind of an arbitrary thing like a throw-in. But that momentum really does carry into the different facets of the game. The Knights taking advantage of that.
Throw-in here for the Knights. Mercer with the throw-in, looking for Rigby, potentially. Elects to go to Auger instead. Mercer now crossing over the middle, looking to find the feet of Palmer in the second level. Deflected away and cleared out by the Eagles. The ball rolls out of bounds. The assistant referee elects to give it to the Knights. Landy will take this throw in. Finds the feet of Mercer, plays back to Landy. Landy with some space over to Mercer, looking for the wall pass. And the Eagles clear that one out deep into the backfield. Vaughn coming way off of her line outside the box to clear that out. And it finds the head of number 22 for the Eagles, Anna Sobis. Knights regain possession. Jewell with the left-footed shot, looking for Palmer down the sideline. A good idea, just plays her a little bit too long, as it's Talbot who clears the ball out towards the sideline, and the ball will roll out of bounds for a Knights throw-in. Cyan Smith now with the throw-in, looking for Palmer. And Palmer on the first touch passes it out of bounds, now with the Eagles throw-in.
Moving the ball a little bit upfield with each throw-in.
Eagles with the throw-in. Smith heads it up the field. Matthews with the ball. Drops back to her back line. The ball flies high and into the air. Powell able to clear that a little bit, but now finding the feet of number 23 for the Eagles, Isabella Kreider, battling for possession with Cora Jewell in the midfield. or that was Alyssa Winterton, rather. Eagles now with the ball in some space here in the middle of the field. Jewel dropping back, trying to mark the player, looking for the through ball up.
Pass just a little bit long, goes right into the arms of Katie Vaughn.
Looking for Anna
job.
Sobis. Palmer putting on some pressure there towards the sideline. The ball roll out of bounds for a Bridgewater throw-in, but not before substitution. Checking onto the field for the Eagles is number 16, the freshman midfielder Rachel Bullard out of Culpeper, Virginia. And she'll take the place of the single goal scorer for Bridgewater College so far in the game, Anna Sobis. Matthews able to get past Smith with a little bit of space. Looking for the run on the side from number 23, Isabella Kreider, and the Knights had to just clear that ball out of there quickly, and it will be a corner kick for Bridgewater College.
I believe they're 4th of the game. 5th of the game. The Knights still haven't merited a corner kick yet.
The ball into the box. Powell deflects it off of her foot. The Eagles now at the inside of the box, and it's number 3, Sarah Brennan, for the Eagles putting up the Hail Mary. And it does deflect. So it doesn't get the goal, but does get the deflection off of the Knights for yet another Bridgewater corner kick rather. Going to be taken by number 5, Grayson Matthews, the senior captain.
You can see they've basically run the same play on these corners where number 4 will move out to the edge of the 6, and then the strikers at the top of the 18 will move into the box, try to filling the hole a little bit there, but hasn't worked out too well so far. Few players jumping for that ball. Looks like it comes off the head of an Eagle. And rolls out for a goal kick for the Knights.
And it'll be Cyan Smith taking the goal kick. Plays out to Kira Tolbert here on the near side of your screen. Plays up to Airdrie Palmer. Finds space in the middle with Winterton. Rigby looking for the feet of Auger. Cora Jewell now with the ball, switching the field into space, finds Mercer. The Knights with some good play here, looking for Alyssa Winterton, but actually plays up to Rigby. Winterton now playing up the field, looking for the feet of Rigby. Rigby staying with the ball, plays it just too far out in front of her, and the Eagles' back line able to clear that one out of danger.
But a really good job pushing by the Knights, even though they didn't quite have the possession they wanted, doing a good job of attacking up the field. Really keeping that attack on them, keeping the pressure on the Bridgewater College there. You can definitely see the momentum of the goal has inspired them and encouraged them to keep attacking, keep the ball moving forward. Now they know they've been there before and they can keep doing it.
Winterton and Tolbert battling for possession there. Smith trying to clear that one out with her right foot. Successfully does so, buying a little bit of extra time for the Knights players to get back on the defense. Number 20 for the Eagles. Grimm battling for possession on the sideline with Palmer, and the AR, assistant referee rather, will give the throw into the Knights. Smith takes it. Rigby with the ball, crosses backwards. Beautiful footwork there by Rigby. But loses possession to the Eagles. Winterton now with the ball, looking to drop back to Landy. Matthews looking to pass up the field to Rager. And Powell is right there, though, to deal with the through ball to Rager, but it will go out for yet another goal kick for Bridgewater College. This is their 7th of the game.
Looks like they might have something drawn up here to go short instead of going for the same long play that they've done on the previous about 6 goal kicks, and maybe electing to stick with the same play in the end.
And the ball goes dangerously off the head there of number 18, senior midfielder Catherine White out of Cary, North Carolina. Fortunately for the Knights, heads it straight into the ground, and Katie Vaughn able to deal with that.
Yeah, that's a very dangerous play by the Knights, though. Not doing a good job of marking on the back post. That's definitely something that's going to be addressed. That was basically a free open shot that luckily for the Knights just went straight into the ground and into the hands of Katie Vaughn, but a very, very dangerous play to get it on that back post. That's something they're going to have to watch out for.
Following the handball and free kick by the Knights, the ball will roll out of bounds. And just as we anticipated previously, number 10, Clarissa Barton comes back onto the field, just regaining a little bit of energy. And she will actually take the forward position rather than the midfield position, coming back into the game, replacing Taylor Mercer up top.
An interesting tactical adjustment by Coach Cox there. We'll see how it pays off for the Knights.
Cyan Smith with the throw in for the Knights. Plays it up the field, looking for Rigby. Ball deflects off the face of Airdrie Palmer. Looks like she's okay. Cyan Smith playing it up the field. Rigby and Jewell there trying to fight for possession, passing it back to Smith. Smith plays it up the field to Palmer. Jewell now looking for Smith on the run. Takes the slide. Looks like she connects with the ball. Rather, the referee plays a little bit of an advantage, and once it bounces into the possession of the Knights, calls for the foul, has a word with Cora Jewell, and the Eagles will have a free kick.
Yeah, Cora Jewell definitely using those long legs to try to reach in for the slide tackle. It's a good tactic, one I tried very often too. Often people don't realize quite how long the legs are. She was able to get to the ball, but I don't think the Eagles player was quite ready for that, so it definitely can result in some awkward falls. The refs electing to give the free kick there.
Sybil with the low line drive up the field for the Eagles, who are looking for an offensive threat here. Have a good through ball up the field to number 23, Isabella Kreider, looking for the cross in the head of Rager. And the ball sails over the center of the box and goes out for a Knights goal kick. The Knights get away with one there once again.
Yeah, it looks like Bridgewater's back to their regular tactic. Play that ball down into the corner and then try to find the cross through.
Getting her first minutes of the game for the Knights is senior midfielder Shirley Morales-Yan out of Orem, Utah. As the Knights take a goal kick here. And it's Barton there. Once again, had a little mishap like that there in the first half. Looks like she's got her head up looking to where she's going to go before she touches the ball and just kind of misses it there.
Yeah, sometimes you get too far ahead of yourself and think about what you're going to do next, not what's actually coming in. So that can happen a little bit, but the aggressive play by the Knights is still good nonetheless. As we see Shirley Morales-Yan come on, definitely a good running wing for the Knights. Does a good job of getting up and down the sidelines, creating space.
Yan looking to make the run. Smith looks for, and the Eagles regain possession here. Playing up the field, it's Kira Tolbert playing back to Vaughn. As Kreider looks to put the high pressure on. Morales-Yan getting involved early here as she takes the field. And as we've been seeing this entire game, Bridgewater really trying to rely on those long balls to create opportunities for themselves.
Yeah, it looked like they settled down a little bit at the start of the second half here, but back to that same play that they started out the game with the whole first half for the most part, playing that ball over the top, deep into the corner, hopefully away enough from the goalie that they don't leave their line. They're usually trying to find that space where the goalie is kind of torn between leaving and staying between the posts, but they've definitely reverted back to it.
Great look there by Jan to find Auger, but Auger sends it well far of number 10 there, Clarissa Barton. The Eagles now with possession, answering with a quick counterattack. Looking for the through ball in the middle, but there are no forwards to be found for the Eagles. Vaughn with the quick clearance out of the box. And looks like the ball will roll out of bounds. No attempt to catch that one there by Bridgewater.
Entering the game for the Eagles, number 7.
I wonder if fatigue's starting to play in a little bit as we see the substitutions increase as well. More players coming onto the field, and definitely players getting a little bit, more tired with 70 minutes gone in this game.
Entering the game for the Eagles is number 7, Hunter Collier, the freshman forward out of Midlothian, Virginia. She created a couple offensive opportunities for the Eagles towards the latter minutes of the first half, making a few runs across the center of the box. Look for her to get involved quickly as she is right now, almost creating a dangerous run down the sideline, but unable to connect on the wall pass. And then checking in for the game, into the game for the Knights is number 11, junior midfielder Emma Schroeder out of Draper, Utah, getting her second entrance into the game. Both teams battling for possession here towards the sideline. Jewel and Winterton battling for possession. Winterton clears it up the field with their left foot, and that ball will roll out of bounds for a Bridgewater College throw-in. Getting the throw-in, or taking the throw-in really quickly. Schroeder passes out to Jan. Jan gives up possession. The Eagles now with the ball off the head of Tolbert. Cyan Smith battling for possession now against 2 Eagles players, and she passes the ball to the bounds, and Bridgewater College will have yet another throw-in. Matthews in the midfield, running past Winterton, passing out to the sideline. Now out to Rager, and the ball is intercepted by Landy. The ball played up to Clarissa Barton and cleared out of bounds by Bridgewater College for a Knights throw-in, taken quickly off the foot of Bridgewater College, and Powell will drop back to take care of the ball. And the ball is deflected off of Bridgewater College for another Knights throw-in.
Both teams being really aggressive here and trying to keep the ball in the attacking third. And it hasn't really resulted in anything for either team, as they're kind of falling away from the style that has worked for them so far and gotten them a point. But definitely the vision and the aggression of both teams stepping up a little bit here with 20 minutes remaining. It's interesting to see as the styles kind of fall apart. You see a little bit more individualistic play from the players, and maybe some more optimistic passing. But both teams kind of falling away from their style there for a second, and resulted in some hasty passing on both ends.
Getting her second entrance of the game is number 26, freshman forward McCall Jensen out of Ramsey, New Jersey for the Knights. And as the Knights came into the second half and at the end of the first half really imposing their will on Bridgewater College has now swung the offensive pendulum back into their favor a bit, creating a lot more offensive opportunities for the Knights, and the Knights really scrambling on the back line to just stay afloat and make sure Bridgewater College doesn't find the back of the net once again.
Yeah, it seems like the substitutions that they brought on have definitely been their attacking options, been their attacking threats. Looks like we'll have another corner for Bridgewater College, but yeah, the substitutions have definitely been an attacking prowess, and you can see already they've kind of differentiated into offense and defense again. You see the defenders holding back and then the attackers staying forward as Bridgewater lines up for the same corner play.
Ball crossed in to the box and off the head of number 18, Catherine White, the senior midfielder out of Cary, North Carolina. It was White who almost had the goal on the last corner kick, Sam, that deflected straight off the ground and into the hands of freshman goalkeeper Katie Vaughn, but not this time. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on, or however you want to say it. But you know what? Second time's the charm. Unable to do so on the first attempt, but it's White now with her second opportunity, and she is not going to miss this one and puts it straight into the back of the net.
Yeah, she did a good job of coming, instead of making that run to the back post, she makes it right into the middle of the goal. And really, the header wasn't that much different than the one she had on the first one, but as she had repositioned herself, the goalie was basically in the same position, so all she really had to do was put it between the near post and the goalie, which really was quite easy, as she was largely unmarked there. Had a little bit of pressure as the players were around her, but not necessarily marking her. So I think the Knights definitely got away with one the first time, but the Eagles making them pay for it on that second one.
And the Knights now in high pressure mode as we come into the last 18 minutes here in the second half. Now down 2-1 against the Bridgewater College. Both teams looking for their first win of the season. Bridgewater College 0-1-1 so far in the season. The Knights 0-1. Both teams would love to start this season off early with a win. And Bridgewater College with the upper hand right now. And there's really no question as to how, as Bridgewater College here in the middle of the second half has gained a lot of momentum here as the Knights came in. As we've mentioned multiple times with the momentum, Bridgewater College has played a nice composed game and really got themselves back into it and now has the lead. The Knights now have to answer.
Yeah, and I think where the Knights have really struggled is on the corner kicks. Not defensively, but they have not earned a corner kick yet in this game, and Bridgewater has had 8, and they've just created that many more chances, and that many more chances right on the end of the goal line is very difficult. Really, only 1 goal off of a corner is pretty good for the Knights. It's an optimistic thing, but they need to earn some more opportunities down in their attacking third, and corners are a great way to do that. The Eagles have definitely capitalized more on that. Really hasn't been that complicated. They've basically run the same play on all 8 corner kicks. Number 4, Kerry Rager, moves out of the middle of the box, and then the attackers run from the top of the 18 straight in. It really hasn't been hidden or complicated. The Knights just haven't quite figured it out yet. Haven't quite marked up as well as they should.
I think you're exactly right, Sam. Once you give up 8 corners in a game, you're really asking for the opposing team to eventually put one in the back of the net. Almost did so on their 7th with White, as we mentioned earlier, deflecting the ball straight into the ground and into the hands of Katie Vaughn, who got the save for the Knights. But on the 8th goal kick, they went straight back to White, and this time White was not missing her opportunity and put the Eagles up 2-1, as the Knights now making some offensive tactical changes, bringing Taylor Mercer, number 22, back into the game at forward, and number 24, Kylie Auger, in the midfield.
Yeah, the Knights definitely need to be able to move the ball upfield. They have taken advantage of the opportunities while they're up there, but have not been able to create any corners yet. And I think that's an area where Bridgewater has definitely taken advantage of the Knights.
The Knights looking for a quick counter here. Morales-Jan with the ball, trying to not let it go out of bounds, but unable to catch up with it. Bridgewater College throw-in. Looking for Grayson Matthews, who passes back to White. Number 11, Bailey Bingham with the ball now on the far side. Crosses in with her left foot, and the ball will roll well out of bounds for another Knights goal kick. 15 minutes remaining here in the second half. The Knights fighting to find a second goal to bring themselves level, and hopefully even another one before the end of the half to notch their first win of the season.
Definitely going to need to maintain possession and try to work the ball up the field here. They've had a hard time connecting from these goal kicks into the attacking third. Doing a good job, though, there to get the first touch and then the second touch as well. Trying to settle it now so they can continue.
Landy with the ball, looking for options. Clears the ball up the field with her right foot. Finds the feet of Auger. It looks like Mercer now with the ball. And an opportunity. The Knights have numbers. Jensen running on the right. Jan running on the left. And now with the one-on-one opportunity against the goalkeeper. Shoots it with the left foot. But with virtually no power on it. No problem there for Talbot as Jan takes it with her off foot. A little harder to shoot with a lot more power there on the off foot.
Yeah, that's a great job by the Knights, though, to get the numbers upfield. Doing a good job. That's exactly what you want to do on that play is get the ball into the center and then make a pass out to the sides. And Shirley Morales-Jan doing a good job of making that run down the line, being in the right position. The shot wasn't exactly what she was looking for, but a good job nonetheless to just take it left-footed, try to put it on the far post. Accurate, but not enough power to beat the goalie on that.
You are right, Sam, and it was during the first half where the Knights found their real first offensive opportunity of the half where they began to build on it. Hopefully now the Knights, having tasted a little bit of offensive momentum here later in the second half, can be able to build upon it. Great run there by Shirley Morales-Jan down the left line, and Mercer with being able to put the pass right at her feet.
That's a great job by the Knights, but again, sometimes it's better to stop and try to find someone as they did on their first goal. Try to find that cross back in across the center, but it's a tough decision when you're in the moment. If you want to shoot it really quick or try to turn and find someone, I think she made the right decision there. Just the shot didn't come off her foot quite the way she wanted to.
Now entering the game for the Eagles of Bridgewater College, number 6, freshman defender Cyan Coates from Palmyra, Virginia. The Bridgewater coach noticing the offensive pressure or tactical substitutions by the Knights, now looking to get some fresh legs on his back line in order to compensate for the newly rejuvenated Knights offensive attack.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a tactical change there. Definitely bringing another defender on. They realize they don't need to get any more goals to win this game if that's the attempt, and definitely looks like they're trying to slow down the play of the Knights. You can see some delay tactics being used by the goalie to wait until the attacking pressure comes. I'm sure we'll see the same thing on throw-ins and kicks. Take a few seconds off the clock and then just keep the defense behind the ball, keep the ball in front of them. I'm sure we'll see some more tactics from Bridgewater College as they definitely are making that shift towards defense.
The ball rolls out of bounds now for a Knights throw-in. It's Landy on the far side taking the throw-in, looking for an open Knights player. Looking for McCall Jensen, bounces off the head of Bridgewater College. Auger deflecting the ball. Bridgewater College now with the ball towards the midfield. Switching the field over to number 7, Hunter Collier, who deflects the ball out of bounds. Cyan Smith now as the ball makes its way right back to the near side of the screen here, where a lot of this offensive play for the Knights has been the second half. Which is interesting enough considering the fact that most of the Knights' offensive pressure in the first half, Sam, was on the opposite side of the field with Clarissa Barton and Emma Landy.
It was indeed. I think Barton in particular has definitely not been the presence that she was in the first half. The Knights trying to play down to this near side a little bit more to make another good run down the line. Looks like they're trying to get back to that side now. Work it back into the middle.
Barton switching the field, finding Morales-Yan, who takes somewhat of an awkward first touch. Cyan Smith now, looking to make a run. Plays the ball just a little too far out in front of herself, and the ball rolls out of bounds for a Bridgewater throw-in. Plays it short. Morales-Yan with the pressure, putting on some good physical pressure and able to clear the ball out of bounds for another Bridgewater throw-in, but great intensity there from Morales-Yan. Ball played inbounds, and it kicked out of bounds once again by Bridgewater College. Another Southern Virginia throw-in. Mercer now with the ball, plays up into the air looking for Barton. Schroeder closing the gap before the Eagles clear the ball out into the midfield. Landy now in a foot race. Feels the pressure from behind. That was number 22, Anna Sobis, from Bridgewater College, coming up behind her, and she clears the ball out for an Eagles throw-in.
I think that's another area where the Knights definitely could address something. Landy, for the most part, when she gets that ball, has largely elected to just kick it out of the sideline. I think she could do a better job of maybe settling down and Powell pulling out, maybe opening up an option for her. I think that's one area where the Knights have kind of given away a few opportunities, and the Eagles have been given that opportunity to keep the ball down on the attacking third. Maybe that's what's resulted in some of the corners that have gone against the Knights. Could be something Coach Cox may want to address.
Morales-Yan with the ball down the sideline. Cyan Smith now with a little bit of space. Going one-on-one. Nice crossover, creating space for herself, looking for McCall Jensen up the middle. The Eagles able to deal with that. Now looking to create a counterattack of their own, playing up the field, looking for Hunter Collier. Finds the feet of Kira Tolbert for the Knights. Now Smith playing up to Jensen. Sees Taylor Mercer in the middle of the field, who is unable to stretch that leg out just far enough to maintain possession for the Knights as Bridgewater plays it down the field. Play after play after play, Bridgewater just booting the ball down the field, looking to either find the long ball or just shave more and more time off the clock, as both teams here with the tactical substitution to bring as many fresh legs onto the field as they possibly can.
Yeah, that's what makes the difference here in the last 8 minutes of the game is some people that have been on for a little bit longer maybe get a little more lazy, a little more composed in the back, and then definitely sometimes can get beat by those fresh legs. The substitutions just come on, bring a little bit of energy as well. So we'll see. Hopefully those subs, especially in the midfield, can really help out the Knights.
Entering our last 8 minutes of play here in the Knights women's soccer home opener here at the fields at Southern Virginia University, down 2-1 against the Eagles of Bridgewater College. For those just joining us here on the broadcast, Bridgewater scoring in the second minute of the game. Anna Sobis scoring one-on-one against the goalkeeper from a beautiful assist from number 3, Sarah Brennan, on the back line for the Eagles, as the rest of the first half went scoreless and the Eagles went into the first went into halftime rather, following the first half, up 1-0 as the Knights answer early in the second half with a beautiful goal by senior Cora Jewell, assisted by number 4, Allie Rigby, the freshman out of Rexburg, Idaho, as it then became back and forth as both teams battled for momentum. The Eagles ultimately gaining that offensive momentum and putting a cross from a corner kick into the back of the net from a header by number 18, Catherine Wright. The Knights now fighting to level things up here in the last 7 minutes of play to put this thing into overtime or possibly put in even another goal before the end of regulation to get their first win of the season.
Yeah, it looks like both teams really kind of trying to up their style a little bit more. You can see Bridgewater College trying to use some delayed tactics, but then also keep the pressure on in the attacking third. You see that ball go way over the top down the line. That 40-yard ball they've tried to play. You can see the Knights trying to work the ball up the field and make passes through, but also they're definitely trying to lengthen some of their passes to get it to their attackers, doing a good job of really getting it up to them, but then they've had a hard time breaking through the defense for Bridgewater College.
Bridgewater just continuing to boot the ball up the field, this time finding one of their offensive players, and the ball rolls into the box to the hands of Katie Vaughn. Quickly taking it to the edge of the box and booting it out, looking for Cyan Smith. Smith and Mercer collide slightly in a little bit of miscommunication as to who is going to take care of that ball, and the ball roll out of bounds for a Knights throw-in. Thrown there by Kira Tolbert for the Knights. Good little flick pass attempt there by Allie Rigby for the Knights. Unsuccessful in connecting with one of her teammates, however. The ball rolls back, and Ann Powell clearing that off to the sideline. Barton trying to get there before it rolls out of bounds, and Bridgewater will have another throw-in. Five minutes and 20 seconds remaining here in the second half, rather. And the Knights will concede a foul there near the 15-yard line on the football field, about 25 yards out from the goal. Foul by Alyssa Winterton, and the Eagles will take the foul quickly, looking for a quick cross in. And both teams hoping to get the call in favor of their own team. Looked like the referee was intending to give a goal kick initially, but instead elects to give the corner kick, and this will be the 9th for the Eagles. The Knights not looking to be fooled 2 times in a row here. As you can see there at the top of the box, it was number 18, Catherine Wright, with last goal, looking to get it off her head, and the ball sails just over the crossbar, shot by number 16 there, Rachel Bullard for Bridgewater College, as Bridgewater looking to continue that success in the box off those corner kicks.
Yeah, that's no different than the play that they've run on the last, 8 corner kicks, but the Knights definitely giving it to them a little bit. I think they're having a hard time, particularly Catherine White in the middle, number 18, doing a really good job. Even though that ball wasn't to her, she made a good adjustment to come back for it. I think the Knights having a tough time marking in the box, and with 9 corner kicks for Bridgewater College, it's almost surprising that they haven't created a few more opportunities off of those. But the Knights definitely need to correct that quickly and recognize in order to not allow that for the last couple minutes of the game.
Run down the sideline there by Rager, cleared out of play and deflected off of Rager out of bounds for a Knights throw-in. Landy with the ball now, clearing the ball up the field with her left foot, looking for Allie Rigby, who's able to get a good turn there, but White drops back. Rigby, just inches from being able to possibly tap that ball past the defender and have a one-on-one opportunity with the goalkeeper. Dangerous there for the Knights, as Bridgewater just desperately trying to keep the ball out of their defensive third. Really trying to park the bus here to keep the Knights from leveling things up and sending this game into overtime.
Yeah, good job by the Knights, though, keeping pressure on. Even when you're the only player up there, you want to see him keep fighting for that ball, keep causing some problems for the Eagles, doing a good job attacking, even though there wasn't a whole lot of options. Had she have gotten the ball, you like to see that attitude from your players up there.
Ball cleared out by Rigby into the midfield, finds the feet of the Eagles pretty easily, and now we have number 23 for the Eagles running alone. That is Isabella Kreider looking to cross the ball in, as Ann Powell decides to cross the entire field and take matters into her own hands to clear that ball out.
That is absolutely spectacular by a center back to run all the way across the field there. Get to it. Again, we see the speed of Ann Powell to make sure that that cross didn't come in. It does merit another corner, but it's much better than the alternative. Hopefully the Knights don't give anything to Catherine White here. Looks like Bridgewater electing to play short for the first time.
Vaughn almost coming off of her line, crosses the ball across the field, and the ball will roll out of bounds for a Knights throw-in potentially.
Again, looking for White, though.
Two minutes and 15 seconds remaining here in the second half. The Knights needing an offensive possession here. Ball rolls out of bounds for Bridgewater throw-in. Now the Knights looking to get possession. Mercer with the ball, passing over to Jewel. Misses Jewel. Winterton now passing the ball up the field, looking for Smith. Rigby gets crossed over in the middle of the field, battling for possession. Cora Jewel heads it up the field, finding the feet of Barton. Barton running up the field. We have multiple runners making an attempt. Cyan Smith. Ooh, and the Knights with a dangerous possession there as Clarissa Barton is unable to find the feet of Rigby, but makes almost the luckiest of deflections to the feet of Cyan Smith, but instead goes to the hands of Haley Talbot in the goal for the Eagles. And the Knights come away goalless after what could have been a dangerous but dramatic goal to level things up here late in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. You could see the idea was there, but I think all three players were trying to make that run into the center, and it just ended up causing a little bit of confusion, I think. You want to see two of the players outside on the wing, and instead of trying to cross in front like that, it makes it a little bit harder for the player with the ball, so maybe try to cross behind or stay out wide and open for the ball, which was what happened on this shot from Shirley Morales-Yan. But so close there by the Knights. A great attempt.
The Eagles not taking their foot off the offensive gas at all as they're trying to make a final run and really put this game out of reach. Vaughn going to have to hurry up here and take this goal kick. 35 seconds remaining here in the second half. The Knights desperately need an offensive possession here. Taking a little bit more time than they like to here. Landy now taking the goal kick. Deflected off of Cora Jewel, playing up the field for Winterton. Winterton now up the field to Cyan Smith. 20 seconds remaining. Smith with the beautiful pass to the feet of Barton. Barton now running down the field and gets pushed over. No call there from the referee. Barton needs to get up, but they're saying it deflected off of Barton, and that will end this game with a Bridgewater throw-in. Unfortunate loss there for the Knights in their home opener against Bridgewater College, as they fall to the Eagles 2-1 here at the Fields at Southern Virginia University. Really, no lack of drama there in the last 3 minutes of play, Sam, as the Knights had some offensive opportunities, but by that point, maybe too little too late.
Yeah, I think that effort right at the end is exactly what we want to see from the Knights for the full 90 minutes. Had they have finished, or had they have played the whole game the way that they finished the first and second halves, I think the score would have been different. I think the outcome would have been different. Some really, really good effort there in the last 5 minutes of both halves. And there's a few highlights throughout the game as well, but the effort is really what makes the difference. You can see Bridgewater on their heels for the last 5 minutes of both halves because of the pressure from the Knights. But again, a little bit too late for the Knights. Not quite the full 90 minutes. And an unfortunate outcome, but a great effort nonetheless.
Bridgewater College able to notch their first win of the season, now 1-1-1, with a double overtime tie in their first game against Worcester College, a loss to number 22 ranked Carnegie Mellon, and now a win against your Southern Virginia Knights in their home opener here at the Fields at Southern Virginia University. Southern Virginia falls now to 0-2 on the season with a loss to Meredith this past weekend in a tournament, and Raleigh, North Carolina, and now to Bridgewater College, looking to bounce back on Friday as they go away to Ferrum College at 7 p.m., looking to notch their first win of the season before returning home next Tuesday, September 12th, where myself, Jake McMahon, and Sam will return to cover that game as they take on Salem at 5:30 p.m., and then the men's soccer team take on Washington and Lee University at 7:30 p.m.
Yeah, both games to look forward to. I think we've seen a lot of good progress from both teams, the men's and the women's side. I think we've really seen some good things from both programs so far. They're definitely in a bit of a building phase, but really a lot to look forward to with the Knights seasons coming up.
Absolutely, and that'll do it for your women's soccer home opener here at the Fields at Southern Virginia University. Once again, your Knights falling to the Eagles of Bridgewater College 2-1 following the first goal of the season for the Knights by senior Cora Jewell. Look for her to find the back of the net multiple more times during the rest of the season, hopefully get some of the other younger defenders, or attackers rather, involved in the scoring effort. But that'll do it for this afternoon's home opener here at the Fields. My name is Jake McMahon. Thank you from myself, from Sam Horman, and our broadcasting director, Craig Reese. We will see you next Tuesday, September 12th, as your women's soccer team takes on Salem prior to the men's soccer team taking on Washington and Lee. Have a wonderful evening.